Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of our Great Expectations Read Aloud series. I hope you all are doing great. Today we will be reading chapter 1, continuing right from where we left off yesterday. I was dreadfully frightened and so giddy that I clung to him with both hands and said, "If you would kindly please to let me keep upright, sir, perhaps I shouldn't be sick and perhaps I could attend more." He gave me a most tremendous dip and roll, so that the church jumped over his own weathercock. Then he held me by the arms in an upright position on the top of the stone and went on in these fearful terms. "You bring me, tomorrow morning early, that file and them victuals. You bring the lot to me at that old battery over yonder. You do it, and you never dare to say a word or dare to make a sign concerning your having seen such a person as me or any person somever, and you shall be let to live. You fail, or you go from my words in any particular, no matter how small it is, and your heart and your liver shall be tore out, roasted, and ate. Now I ain't alone, as you may think I am. There's a young man hid with me, in comparison with which young man I am an angel. That young man hears the words I speak. That young man has a secret way, peculiar to himself, of getting at a boy and at his heart and at his liver. It is in vain for a boy to attempt to hide himself from that young man. A boy may lock his door, may be warm in bed, may tuck himself up, may draw the clothes over his head, may think himself comfortable and safe. But that young man will softly creep and creep his way to him and tear him open. I am a keeping that young man from harming a few at the present moment with great difficulty. I find it very hard to hold that young man off your inside. Now, what do you say? I said that I would get him the file, and I would get him what broken bits of food I could, and I would come to him at the battery early in the morning. "Say Lord strike you dead if you don't," said the man. I said so, and he took me down. Now, he pursued, "You remember what you have undertook, and you remember that young man, and you get home." Good night, sir, I faltered. "Much of that," said he, glancing about him over the cold, wet flat. "I wish I was a frog or a eel." At the same time, he hugged his shuddering body in both his arms, clasping himself as if to hold himself together, and limped towards the low church wall. As I saw him go, picking his way among the nettles and among the brambles that bound the green mounds, he looked in my young eyes as if he were eluding the hands of the dead people, stretching up cautiously out of their graves to get a twist upon his ankle and pull him in. When he came to the low church wall, he caught over it, like a man whose legs were numbed and stiff, and then turned round to look for me. When I saw him turning, I set my face towards home and made the best use of my legs. But presently I looked over my shoulder and saw him going on again towards the river, still hugging himself in both arms and picking his way with his sore feet among the great stones dropped into the marshes here and there, for stepping places where the rains were heavy or the tide was in. The marshes were always a long black horizontal line then, as I stopped to look after him, and the river was just another horizontal line, not nearly so broad nor yet so black, and the sky was just a row of long angry red lines and dense black lines intermixed. On the edge of the river, I could faintly make out the only two black things in all the prospect that seemed to be standing upright. One of these was the beacon by which the sailors stared, like an unhooped cask upon a pole, an ugly thing where you were near it; the other, a gibbet, with some chains hanging to it which once held a pirate. The man was limping on towards his larder, as if he were the pirate come to life and come down and going back to hook himself up again. It gave me a terrible turn when I thought so, and as I saw the cattle lifting their heads to gaze after him, I wondered whether they thought so too. I looked all round for the horrible young man and could see no signs of him. But now I was frightened again and ran home without stopping. And with that, we have reached the end of today's read aloud session. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next part of Great Expectations.